Deception is one of the most powerful tools that can be used to fully dictate and control a person's life, and in this case for a lonely Saiyan, it was no exception, as on the previous video, we learned about Taima's battle against Brood, the father of Beerus and Champa, and why this was important to have them both fight, but never really learned as to what was in it for the Pharaoh, as now we have all the answers as to why, along with the Pharaoh's terrifying vision of a fearful future that he had seen within his own revelation, in not only being fearful of being dethroned but actually defeated by future gods of destruction. As once more before we begin, if you are new to this channel and have a love and passion for all things Dragon Ball and anime related, then be sure to go on ahead and smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications by clicking on the bell icon to never miss a single upload. And if you guys love and enjoy Dragon Ball and cannot wait to see more, then be sure to go on ahead and slap a big fat like down below by giving this video a big thumbs up, along with checking out the official Dragon Ball fan mangas playlist located down in the description box below, to where there you will be able to find all the latest and best Dragon Ball fan mangas created by the community for the community. So be sure to take a minute to go on ahead and check that playlist out located down below, as we kick off the Dragon Ball Infinite manga chapter number 5 special on planet Vegeta. And inside of one of King Vegeta's palaces, we observe a Saiyan having to step through a doorway, and inside of this chamber, we notice a bunch of Saiyan babies within incubation chambers. Now this seemingly enough does end up taking place during the time of Dragon Ball Super Broly, which indicates that at some point this is the origin of Taima. And within this incubation chamber, we notice the Saiyan Beat, who in which was originally killed by Paragus in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. And as we notice Beat walking around, he comes across what seemingly looks like Taima inside of an incubation pod. And as Beat walks on over, he goes on ahead to press a button in releasing the child and holding him close, which goes as far as to indicate that indeed Beat is the father of Taima in this story. And as he's holding his son, a mysterious figure then goes on to tell Beat, now is the perfect time. Let's start the next step. As we then only notice Beat and this mysterious individual having to overlook Saiyan Space Pod, the individual goes on to state the pod is prepared, indicating the fact that they do plan on possibly sending Taima away. And as Beat goes on ahead to board Taima on the ship, he goes on to state, how could this happen? He's so calm. Let's finish this. Listen, we can't risk it. As the mysterious figure goes on to comment, we have had quite a few anomalous readings lately, but his are conclusive. As Beat goes on to reply, who knows what King Vegeta would do if he found out. As Beat continues, it just looks bad on me. I just can't risk it. It's embarrassing. A power level of 0? How is that even possible? We will send him off in a pod tonight. We can pick the destination if you want, but that's the end of it. As the mysterious individual goes on to further tell Beat, be careful, Beat goes on ahead to lift the pod above his head as he proceeds to tell the individual, see you later. So here we notice that indeed it looks like his son has a power level reading of 0. So of course he doesn't want to make himself nor his son look bad in front of the king, so to further preserve the kid's life, he's looking to take him away. And as Beat loads the Saiyan pod, among many others, we notice how Taima is right next to Baby Broly. And as he's going on ahead and driving to seemingly enough look like delivering these pods on another location, it goes on to further state the dockyard, and that is exactly where Beat was going. And with these Saiyan space pods loaded, he is zooming on in as he's trying to get to the dock as quickly as possible. And as he does so, we see him running on about as he goes on to cry out, get these pods ready to launch now! As he finally manages to get inside, he not only proceeds to load all 4 Saiyan space pods on the dock, but the launch is ready, as of course Beat proceeds to press the button in launching the Saiyan space pods away. We have ourselves a very familiar glimpse of what happened during the events of Dragon Ball Super Broly, and that's all of the space pods, which also include Taima and Broly being sent out into space to unknown destinations. And as Taima's father looks on, he goes on to say to himself, goodbye son. Knowing the fact that not only did he have to do this to save his son's life, being that King Vegeta could have possibly seen Taima as a complete joke in possibly murdering him right before Beat's eyes, but to also preserve his integrity, he had to send his son away. And as he does so, he goes on to say to himself, any life is better than this one. He's much better off. I better get back to work. And as Beat proceeds to get back to work, immediately we notice how Paragus comes storming out as he goes on to cry out, "Damn that King Vegeta," which takes us back to Dragon Ball Super Broly. And with Taima having to be sent out drifting in space, we then go back to the original chapter, to Manga Chapter 1, when we first saw a space pod entering a wormhole, a time vortex. And as Taima goes on through and winding up on this planet during the events of what is happening right now involving him and following the battle against Brood, all of a sudden he begins to awaken. And as he wakes up, the first thing Taima goes on to ask is what happened. As Raiki goes on to answer, a lot has happened. Brood was taken from the arena, healed, and put in charge of training members of Noob's army. As Taima overhears this, he gets really angry as he goes on to ask why. As Raiki goes on to continue, traders of Noobs return from the docks to tell him that a magical barrier had been put in the middle of the Nile, and it starts right at the entrance of the Fountain of the Gods. As Taima only then goes on to ask, what about Mom? As Raiki tells him, I'm sorry Taima, I don't know. As you can feel the anger emanating from Taima, Raiki continues, war is upon us I'm afraid, and my future looks grim. I was contacted telepathically by Mirai and he asks me to teleport you directly to him. As Taima is completely shocked, he goes on to ask, you can do that? Then why haven't you escaped? As Raiki goes on to tell him, unfortunately for me, teleporting myself in key form is a lot harder and a lot more dangerous. I helped Brood escape the night he protected the city from you, and I could have helped him escape the whole time, but he refused and didn't want to endanger his family. As Taima then only goes on to ask, and what about you? As Raiki responds, I'm not just going to give up, but right now you need to get out of here. Just close your eyes. As Taima responds, okay, I'm ready. Is it going to hurt? As all of a sudden then darkness, as his body rematerializes in a different location, he then goes on to ask, where am I? As Mirai looks at Taima, the narration goes on to state the Island of the Gods. As he then goes on to tell Taima, you've grown. As Taima goes on to ask, what happened to you? As Mirai goes on to tell him, well, I stopped drinking from the fountain because I decided it must inevitably be destroyed. That's also why I have this cane. Genzai didn't like the idea very much. As Taima's very angered, he then goes on to ask, so why am I here? As Mirai goes on to reply, that is a very good question. You know, the day you arrived on this planet was the last day until recently my brother had visited the island himself. He sends his people to fetch his water simply to avoid me. Sometimes he would come himself before you arrived, but very rarely we would have too many disputes over how we rule our people. He only came to see me when he needed me. The technology his people use are a more primitive form of our technology in the city of Su. His pyramids require labor due to the use of batteries. He abuses his people. I voiced my concerns, but he says his people are strong due to his rule. But really, he's just power mad and a master manipulator. Nothing in your life had been a coincidence, Taima. As Taima asks, what do you mean? As Mirai continues, every day the Pharaoh has been manipulating every aspect of your everyday life. Every event had a purpose. The day you arrived, my brother and I had a meeting and drank from the fountain, together. We both took a drink and I had the strongest vision, the farthest into the future I have ever received. I saw the gods of the future, and amongst them were descendants of the Pharaoh. Not I, but 2 of the Pharaoh's people were gods, but not just any gods. Gods of destruction, which in translation Mirai had looked so far into the future that he did in fact see the future gods of destruction of both Universe 6 and 7, which ultimately turned out to be Beerus and Champa. As Taima goes on to ask, a god of destruction? As Mirai continues, yes. In fact, the previous population of this planet had also seen visions of a god of destruction. Genzai is obsessed with the idea. All of his culture is based around ancient civilizations of this planet's understanding of a god of destruction. That's why hearing that one of his descendants would become one sent him into a panic, because he believed he would inevitably be dethroned and defeated. As Taima goes on to ask, what does this have to do with me? As Mirai goes on to tell him, you were the answer. You arrived at his front door that day, and the Pharaoh saw the potential you had to save him from his fate. Every day you spent working was to make you stronger. When he finally sent you to the island, it was to test your loyalty. And the day he locked you away with Brood, he knew exactly what would happen. He's been controlling every aspect of your life, in the hopes that you will defeat the one who will dethrone him. He believed until recently that could be Brood. As Taima is shocked, he goes on to comment, wow, I don't know what to say. Wait, why Brood? He's not stronger than the Pharaoh, is he? As Mirai continues, actually, the Pharaoh has grown weaker throughout the years. The effects of the water have dwindled. We were the first generation, and as such, the strongest for a very long time, even without the effects of the water. But Brood was born with more potential than the first generation, and his sons have limitless potential. The Pharaoh knows of Brood. He slated that he is the perfect example of how his rule has created a strong people, and he thought until recently without the God Water, he could not defeat Brood. Your fight with him was to test both of your hidden power and true potential. As Taima then goes on to ask, I'm sorry, but I still don't understand. Why me? What's so special about me? As Mirai comments, does that question really need to be asked? You have grown in power extremely fast throughout the years, and just when it seems you have reached your limit, you somehow manage to break through to new heights. You are special. For many reasons you know. The amount of ki you have dictates your power. Your ki grows as you fight someone stronger. I've noticed it, as did the Pharaoh. And it seems that when you healed after your great injury, the limits of your power expand beyond its previous limit. The entire time you were imprisoned, I can feel your power growing and your limits breaking. And I'm sure the Pharaoh felt it as well. You seem to have the same limitless potential as Brood's sons, aka Beerus and Champa. When the Pharaoh realized that he sought to control your power to achieve his own means. As Taima then goes on to state he will pay for what he did to my mother. As Mirai replies, well, fear not. Your mother lives. It appears as though the Pharaoh was bluffing, or he knows he can use her against you again. As Taima cries out, she's alive? I have to go get her. As Mirai replies, no, you are not ready. You have much to learn before you can defeat the Pharaoh, and I need your help, unfortunately. I am not powerful enough to destroy the Fountain of Gods, but that's where you will come in. I'm going to teach you the ways of my people. To prepare you for the battle ahead, you must learn the ways. The ways of Hiki. As Taima goes on to ask, what the heck is Hiki? As Myra goes on to respond, it's a form of magic that uses ki as an energy source in order to reform it. With your limitless potential, I'm going to take you to my home. And by the time you return, hopefully, you will be more than ready to take on the Pharaoh. After we destroy the fountain, of course. As Taima responds, anything to save my mom. I'm ready. As Mirai goes on to tell him, alright, hold on tight, I'm going to teleport us there. As the manga chapter special comes to a close now, We've understood from the very beginning that the Pharaoh is very deceiving, he's very condescending, he's very disingenuous, and he had been using Taima this entire time. And he had been using Taima to simply find out for himself how far Brood and Taima can go with their limitless potential. As of course the Pharaoh's fear, as many other Pharaohs in actual reality, is that they are afraid of being dethroned and defeated. As here the Pharaoh had indeed learned that there will be future gods of destruction, and that is exactly what he is in fear of. He doesn't want to lose his position, he doesn't want to be defeated, and he is willing to deceive and torture and punish anybody just to keep his position. As we are going to be covering the next chapter on the channel relatively soon, I do want to go on ahead and get your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you guys believe that subjectively the Pharaoh is in the right for wanting to maintain his position, or do you guys think that the Pharaoh is a complete piece of crap? And what would you guys do in Taima's position if you had no other choice but to gather all this information in fighting for your own survival? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. Thank you all so much for watching once more. By the way, if you guys want to go on ahead and join my Discord server, you guys can find my Discord link located down in the description box below. It's open to whoever wants to join, so of course if you guys have any fan manga ideas, if you guys want to hop in and just talk about Dragon Ball or anything else outside of that, you guys can simply join my Discord server. Again, link located down below. Subscribe to my secondary and third channels, which again, link located down below. Thank you all once again. If you guys enjoyed, slap a big fat like on this video, tune back in for the next chapter, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Have a great day, guys. Peace!
This is the Galactic Emperor of the Universe, and of course I'm here to tell you to subscribe to UnrealEntGaming.
Also follow UnrealEntGaming on these social media platforms to stay connected at all times. And if you don't, then very soon you will all be dead! Oh, did someone say UnrealEntGaming? Oh my god.
The fuck's up, on? Put on some clothes!
Well, why don't you put on any clothes?
What? I don't need clothes. Jesus Christ, that's huge! What, Broly?
Freezer.
Uh-oh.
Prepare to die!